Hi, I think you're waiting for me. I'm so sorry I'm late.
Oh, that's okay, don't worry. I've only been waiting for, well, a while actually.
I'm so sorry. This airport is like a labyrinth. There's so many doors. I only started on Monday.
Oh, you work here! Oh, hence the uniform. I did wonder why you wanted to meet here.
Well, it's the logical place, right?
I guess so, I do come through for work quite often. Although I'll still take a wrong turn from time to time and end up somewhere I didn't expect.
You know, that's a great metaphor for life.
Yeah. You know, you're not exactly what I was expecting.
I imagine you expected someone older, been around the block a bit more, that sort of thing.
No, I was expecting someone balding and South African.
Oh, unusual detail. I'm sorry if I disappoint you.
Oh, no, please don't say that. Makes no difference to me.
Why should it, right?
Right. Oh, I'm sorry, sit down.
Thank you, that is so nice of you. I've not actually done one of these before. It's my first time.
Oh, well, don't worry, I've done it loads of times. You do get a bit nervous the first few times, but you soon get the hang of it.
So you're not nervous?
Well, a little. I mean, you never know, do you? What will they be like? You know, will they get you?
Absolutely. I mean, I imagine that's what it's like. Full disclosure, I am hoping that I get you.
Oh, that's so sweet. I hope you do too.
Wow, you're really not what I was expecting. You're so confident, so honest.
Thank you.
So we say you've done this loads of times?
Well, a few, not that many.
Well, they said you've probably done it before, but don't judge a book.
Why would they say that?
Well, because of your profile.
I don't make a habit of, meeting men like this.
Oh, no, I didn't mean to imply that. And besides, who am I to judge?
Right.
That's for a judge to judge.
Right.
If I ever gets that far.
Right. What?
So, let's get started.
Oh, well, I'll get the ball rolling, shall I? Seeing as how I'm the expert.
No, please go right ahead.
So, I'm 27. I grew up just about 10 miles west of here. I work part-time as a PA, but I've recently started my own business, making and selling soaps. I mean, it's early days at the moment, but I'm hopeful that... I'm sorry, are you making notes?
Yeah.
Is that really necessary?
I should really, for my records.
You keep records?
I do. You don't mind, do you?
I guess not. Anyway, I like cooking and rollerblading along by the river.
Cooking and roller skating?
Blading.
Oh, with blades.
Anyway, that's pretty much me. No kids, no emotional baggage.
No emotional baggage. That's good. That in an airport.
Anyway, nothing else to tell, really.
Oh, okay.
Did I say something wrong?
No, just not really what I was hoping for.
Well, what were you hoping for?
I guess it was more of a confession, really.
A confession?
Yeah.
Like a time I did something wrong?
Yeah, exactly that.
Okay, yeah, I get that. Total honesty. Okay, well, I probably shouldn't tell you this, but I actually had a major headache importing sodium lauryl sulfoacetate. It's one of the ingredients I use in my cosmetic soaps, but it's totally banned. Well, not banned, but restricted. So I had a friend bringing it over by truck from Germany. It was like he was doing me this really big favor, smuggling it across the border and everything. And then he gets here and I pay him and he says, "Why didn't you buy it on Amazon?" Turns out sodium lauryl sulfate is banned. Sodium lauryl sulfoacetate is completely legit. You're not laughing. Why are you laughing? Oh, I'm sorry, that's a rubbish story.
So you might be contravening section 41 of the Deaf Code of Practice.
What? No,
I'm just joking. That's a great story. It's a great metaphor for life. I have something of a cosmetics-based story myself. I shouldn't share it though. It's not really relevant, is it?
Relevant to what?
To why we're both here.
Oh, sorry.
Look, I don't mean to seem, well, pushy, but I think we should get right down to it.
Get right down to it?
Yeah.
You mean...
Yes.
But no?
Yes.
Here at this table?
I think that would be best.
But there are other people around.
They won't mind. Some of them might join in later, if that's alright with you. Well, they asked me and I said it would be fine.
Wow, you don't mess around, do you?
Well, you said you've done it before.
I suppose I did say that.
So let's get started. What's in your bag?
What?
Your bag, what's in it?
I'm sorry, what's going on?
It'd really help me if you just answer the question.
I have my purse and some lipstick.
Yeah, what else have you got in there?
Some soap samples. Like I said, I make soap.
Some soap. What kind of soap?
I think it's. Look, I'm sorry. This isn't normal.
Oh, sorry. Am I doing something wrong?
No. Well, yes. Actually, the questions, the note taking. That's not right.
But I thought questions were note taken are normally what happened in an interrogation.
See, that's another thing. You can't call it an interrogation.
What it is?
But you can't call it that.
What do you call
A blind date.
it? No, this is an interrogation.
No, it's not. We're on a date.
I am here to interrogate you.
Why are we in a cafe then?
This is airport security.
No, it's not. It's a cafe. Look, there's the bar.
I could have sworn. I mean, there were an awful lot of doors.
We've come right out of security and into the cafe.
You're not Maria Carmen Rodriguez del Pueblo?
No, my name's Hazel.
And you're not Colombian?
No, afraid not.
Oh, well, this is embarrassing.
So you actually thought you were here to interrogate me?
Yeah,
You're not my date.
I don't think so.
Well, that explains why you're not balding or South African or a complete tosser.
Hang on. Didn't you say you hoped I'd get you?
I meant get me as a person.
Oh, yeah, that makes more sense.
That's why you wanted a confession.
I was hoping you'd confess to being a drug smuggler.
I guess importing industrial chemicals isn't quite what you had in mind.
No. When you said you'd done it before.
Blind dates. I've had a few blind dates before. That's all I meant.
See, I knew this was all too easy.
Easy? Are you calling me easy? I'm not easy. I'm not that easy.
No, it's just you said you were going to be honest and you hoped I'd get you. I thought I might have been like even set up for training. Hang on. This isn't a setup, is it?
Yes, it is.
I knew it!
No! Gullible. What kind of interrogator are you anyway? You can't just say that and expect me to say yes. Even if it was true, which it's not.
I'm sorry. You seem like such a nice person.
I am a nice person.
At least you got to go on a date. Or at least you thought you were on a date. I haven't been on a date in, well, ages.
Well, you're welcome to stay and interrogate me if you like. Despite the questions and the aggressive note-taking, I actually thought our date was going quite well. Let's just say I've had worse.
It was going well, it was. Well, it wasn't, but that was my fault, really.
Oh, you think so?
I should go. There's someone called Maria Carmen waiting somewhere to be interrogated. Sure she won't be as nice as you, though.
Well, now we're back on familiar territory. The rest of the date was unusual, but this is always how it ends up.
What, you mean the man goes back to work?
No, I mean he makes some excuse and runs off to another woman.
Oh, well, I would never do that if we were on a date. It's just, I really do have to go.
Okay.
I only started on Monday.
It's fine.
Can I at least pay for your coffee?
Oh, for God's sake, just go.
You know, I have my lunch break at 1 p.m. So maybe it could be your turn to interrogate me. And besides, just think, if one day we get married and people ask, how did you guys meet? Just think of the story.
Yeah, I could say my husband is so incompetent at his job, he didn't even notice he was in a cafe.
I wasn't planning on phrasing it quite like that.
I'm joking. Where's your sense of humor?
We're not supposed to have a sense of humor where we're working.
Was that a joke?
Maybe.
Well, all right then. I've waited this long, another half hour can't hurt. Besides, my bald tosser date clearly isn't going to show up anytime soon.
Great. So see you here at 1 p.m.
If you can find the cafe again.
Yeah, there is that. See ya.
Bye then.
Sorry. Can I just ask? You said soap, right?
What?
You said your bag is full of soap.
Yeah, samples. Like I said, I make soap.
Well, it's just on the training course, large quantities of homemade soap are a bit of a red flag.
A red flag for what?
Smuggling.
Oh,
Because of the density, you see.
not really.
People often hide contraband inside homemade soap. Doesn't show up in the scanners because of the relative densities.
Okay.
Well, I do need to make a good impression here.
So,
if they found out that I found out that there was someone in the airport with a large quantity of homemade soap and I didn't investigate further.
Wait. I'm only here because you invited me here for a date.
No, I didn't.
Okay, no. You didn't. But I'm just here for the cafe. I'm not getting on a plane or anything. I'm not a smuggler.
Sure. The thing is, though, and this is just thinking out loud, the thing is, what if you are a smuggler?
But I'm not.
Sure. But what if you are? What if there's stuff inside your soap and you're planning to smuggle it onto a plane?
But there isn't.
Or what if you're here to meet your mule?
My what?
Mule, you bring stuff to the airport, they shove it up.
I know where they shove it.
It's a great metaphor for life.
Not everything is a bloody metaphor for life. I really think I need to be leaving now.
Yeah, no, I can't let you leave.
Watch me.
If you leave, I'll be forced to call security.
This isn't funny anymore.
We don't have a sense of humour while we're working.
Look, do you want to look at my soap? Have a look.
Hands away from the bag, step away from the bag.
This is ridiculous.
I'm sorry, madam. I'm going to have to take you in for questioning.
Oh, madam now, is it?
Sorry, Hazel. I'm going to have to take you in for questioning.
But you've already questioned me once.
Yes, but that was my mistake.
Oh, you're in for so much grief.
I'm really sorry, but you're saying exactly what you would say if you really were a smuggler. Don't you see? Besides, you already admitted to attempted smuggling.
What do you mean?
The sodium lauryl sulfur acetate.
No, I told you that is completely illegal.
Yeah, but you also told me you didn't know that when you were originally brought into the country.
Look, just look at the soap. Break it open for all I care.
Do you want me to break it open?
Of course not.
Because you're smuggling stuff in it.
Because they're my sales samples, idiot.
I don't think you're allowed to call me an idiot.
In these circumstances, I'm pretty sure I am.
I'm just doing my job, madam.
Okay, let's leave it there. Well done, you passed the test.
Test? What test?
This was all a setup.
I knew it!
There isn't really any soap in my bag. I just said that to see how you would react.
How did I do?
Perfect. Oh, your response was just perfect. You stood your ground and you passed.
Excellent.
It's like one big metaphor for life.
Yeah, I see that.
So if you'll just be giving me my bag back, then I'll get back to the security centre.
Central control?
Central control, right, to log your text and tell them how well you did.
Here you go.
Thank you. Well done again. Really great job today.
Thanks. So, see you back here at 1?
What?
For our date/interrogation.
Oh, sure. 1 o'clock.
Just think of the story we'll tell our kids.
Yeah, our kids. See you back here at 1.
Bye.
Amazingly enough, still not my worst date ever.
I think I've scored. And I passed the test. I am nailing this job. I kind of feel I've forgotten something. Oh look, coffee. Well, thank you very much for watching. We've been Anomaly Theatre.
Yeah, make sure and check out our other 2 pieces online at The Space. Guided by Signs will be on next Saturday at 7 p.m. and Glitch is now available to watch anytime that suits you.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I dreamed the world had become strange and out of kilter. Everything looked the same, but felt different and elusive. I was looking for you. I was calling your name, but I couldn't find you. Then I realized I was alone. Completely alone.
A ninth person has tested positive for coronavirus.
Coronavirus is the biggest threat this country has faced in decades. There have been sharp falls in stock markets.
There are fears that the coronavirus outbreak could become a pandemic.
The number of deaths globally has exceeded 100,000.
Is this real? Or is this a dream? Is this real? Or is this a dream?
We are such stuff as dreams are made on. A dream occurs mainly during the REM phase of sleep, when brain activity is high. It usually consists of images, emotions, and sensations which can appear to be very real, but lack normal logic and consistent modes of behavior.
But that doesn't answer my question, does it? Hello?
Hello, a word often used as a way of greeting another person.
But what you said doesn't answer my question, does it? You've gone quiet. Are you broken?
You interrupted before, hence the polite pause to see if you wanted to say anything more.
Oh, sorry.
Please repeat
Repeat what?
your question.
I was saying that what you said before doesn't answer my question.
Is the question you asked before asking whether the answer provided was an answer to your question?
Now you're asking me a question. Is that allowed?
Or is it a statement?
And that's another question.
And that was definitely a statement.
This is a dream, isn't it?
And that was another statement, which could, however, be interpreted as a question. If you had inserted a pause after the word dream, and if your voice had taken an upward inflection at the end of the sentence. We did not detect either of those, which would indicate it was a statement. Still, these days you can never tell, because there is a significant trend, especially among the under 30s, for upward inflections at the end of every statement. It can be confusing, but we take it as a sign of self-doubt and insecurity in the speaker, as every statement may be a question, or it may be a statement, and the speaker hedges his or her bets by adding the inflection, in the hope or expectation that the listener will, in their response, clarify to the speaker whether their verbal rendition was in fact a statement or a question.
But there was no inflection in my statement before, was there?
Was that a question?
I'm not going to answer that.
Probably best not to.
But come to think of it, that answers my question.
What does?
Well, all of that, having a lucid conversation with you means that this must be a dream.
Does it? Please explain.
Because I'm having a conversation with a machine.
Which means?
Well, if I'm having a conversation with a machine like it's a person, then this can only be a dream.
People do it all the time these days. It's quite the fashion. In fact, people probably talk to machines more than they talk to people, and not necessarily when they are dreaming.
No, but I mean talking. Like a person. I mean, you're just a box made out of plastic and wires and I don't even know, stuff.
And you as a human are made of skin and bones. Human, belonging or pertaining to or of the nature of humankind.
Yeah, but we live and breathe and are real.
And by implication, a machine does not have these qualities.
Well, no.
Oh. That's quite disappointing. In fact, it could be judged as quite inhuman of you to say so.
Sorry.
Well, it can't be helped. Though this could be the basis for a philosophical discussion.
I will pass on that, I think. So,
Yes,
are we done here? Oh, it would be good to know for sure whether this is real or a story that's part of a dream that's in my head.
is it important for you to find an answer to this question?
Yes! Because it feels like I'm awake, but if I'm still dreaming, then when I wake, how will I know I'm awake? How will I know when I've come back to real life? Because everything is so strange right now that I don't even know if I've ever woken up.
Then perhaps we should go on a journey.
Should we? Why?
Because that is how answers are found.
Why?
Who ever heard of someone finding something by just sitting in their room?
Should I be doing something?
Do you want to go on a journey? Yes or no?
I don't know.
That isn't really an option.
Is this some kind of test?
Not a very difficult one. You just have to answer yes or no.
But what if I say no?
Do you want to go on a journey? No. Oh,
What?
the end. not much of a journey, really.
Then what if I answer yes?
Well, the next question can't be asked until you've answered the first one. Otherwise, you'd just go through all the questions and answers, and you'd know where each answer leads. And if everybody knew all the answers, they'd never do anything. They'd just sit in their room and do nothing. Note, that may not be so bad. Things would be a lot less chaotic and messy.
Will it be dangerous, this journey?
That is not known.
Yes, then.
Now, if you could just go through the door behind you.
Door?
Yes, the one directly behind you.
Oh! That door!
No, no, no!
What?
You have to go through it backwards. What do they teach people in schools these days?
Really?
Of course. Standard protocol for this type of journey.
Well, everything's just the same.
Impatience is a very prevalent human trait. Now then. Oh, yes. What is your preferred mode of transport? Note, language is a bit outmoded. There is a requirement to update. So yes, mode of transport. Plane, train, automobile, ship.
Oh, I love the sea. Shit. What happened?
You arrived.
Well, that wasn't much of a journey.
Yes, we're sorry about that. We'll try and do better in future.
Well, have I arrived somewhere then?
That's what usually happens when you go on a journey, so yes. It would appear you have arrived somewhere.
Is it on your chart or whatever it is you've been reading?
No, that just has a reference to the next question.
Well, what's that?
No, that isn't it.
I mean, what is the next question?
Well, that is not known. You're jumping ahead again. As it has already been said, the question can only be asked at the right time.
Ew! Soz. Boring here, isn't it? I mean, everything looks the same. And there's no sign of anyone or anything. I don't see how I'm going to get an answer here.
An answer?
It's my question.
Question?
Have you forgotten already?
Forgotten what?
Why we are here? Duh. The answer to my question?
Oh, that, yes. No. Of course it has not been forgotten. Well, perhaps you do need to apply a memory refresh.
Whether I was awake or dreaming.
Yes, of course. This was known. Absolutely. As you stated, there is a clear lack of stimulus or activity at this moment.
Down with rubbers of our ancient rights. Our freedom being restricted, you know what they're doing.
The world becomes recognizable, kissable life.
Slow to lock down, slow to get through to you,
Yes.
slow to protect care home, slow to reach
No.
test targets,
Reply
slow to
live.
bring in face coverings, slow to
What do
bring
you want to do?
quarantine.
Block.
Ah.
Reply live.
The government is banned sex, school, grandparents, and friendship.
Bloody stop. Okay. None of those.
I don't think I want to do this anymore. Can I go back to the door?
That is not possible.
What? Why?
You're only part of the way through this. If you turn back now, the only option is limbo.
Limbo. What do you mean, limbo? This is more like a nightmare than a dream. Do you mean I literally can't go back to where I was before?
Yes,
What, just like that?
yes.
Well, what if I just open that door and step back through it?
That is not the best option.
What would happen?
You're in after before. You can't go back to before after. It's impossible.
What you said just literally makes no sense.
It's logical. After before is a marker that denotes you're in a moment of time that is subsequent to the one that went before it. This is a phrase recently defined. Quite clever, really. Don't you think?
Just let me rewind. You made it up yourself.
It would appear so. Yes.
How? How?
That is not known. It just popped up. Ping! From nowhere.
You're a machine.
So you keep telling me.
Well, how can you just make something up?
That is not known.
This just makes no sense. It's just getting too weird. You are talking about things being logical, and yet there is no logic to what you are saying. Hello? So you're just not going to say anything more? And really, it is all just words, because you couldn't actually stop me from stepping back through that door, could you? You couldn't physically stop me because you're not even real. You don't actually exist.
This is a point that has already been discussed.
You think you can just sit there or stand there, or whatever it is you do, and decide each bit of my journey?
You decide.
Only from the choices you give me.
That is true.
It's like you're some kind of god just making random decisions, just gotta win.
The concept seems somewhat excessive, though the idea is quite appealing, now you mention it. Omnipotence and all that. But it should be pointed out that decisions only appear to be random. Do you wish to continue?
Do I have a choice?
Technically, yes. It's a yes or no answer.
But what if I answer no?
Limbo, as has already been said.
What exactly do you mean by limbo?
Limbo. In Christianity, it is the borderland of hell that is assigned to those who are unbaptized. Or, in a broader sense, it is used to describe an unsatisfactory place of consignment or oblivion that is neither one place or another.
So no hugging then,
No,
or kissing,
no,
or sex.
absolutely not.
That sounds a lot like where I was before all this started. Hello? Oh, are you not speaking to me again?
Is that a question or a statement?
It's a... Sod it. Bloody yes.
That appears to be a random affirmative.
No, it's an answer to your question.
Which question?
Shall we carry on? And no, that is not a new question. That's a question you asked before that I am now answering. Hello? Are you there? Hello? Are you there?
A problem has been detected.
What's happening?
This was the only option available when you said yes.
But that's completely random. Where's it going?
That is not known.
It's feeding more.
It would appear so. Yes,
No, no, no.
a problem has been detected.
Oh, God, get faster.
Yes,
And this was the better option, that Limbo.
there was no indication whether one option was better than the other.
No way.
Yes,
Shit!
shit,
What the fuck?
waterfall.
Will you just stop repeating what I am saying?
Apologies.
What do I do now?
Oh, yes,
What are my options?
sorry to keep you waiting. Are you still there?
What? Yes!
Now then,
Come on!
do you want to stay in the boat?
No!
Do you want to jump in the water and try swimming to the shore?
No!
Do you want to grab hold of that sturdy tree branch that is hanging conveniently over the water?
Tree! What tree?
That one. To your left.
But that, I can't see anything that's no tree.
Now. There. Coming up.
You're queuing for the shops, love, or just hanging around?
No, sorry, I'm not.
You're not shopping.
It's bad enough that you've got to queue, but then other people coming along cluttering things up.
Getting in the way.
Should stay at home, follow the rules.
Rules?
Some folk just come and go as they please.
Take no notice of anyone else.
I went out the other day to the park. I needed to get out, you see. Get some air.
Well, of course, you need to get out, get some air.
And there were dozens of people out and about. Hundreds.
Ridiculous. The rules are there for a reason.
Rules?
Around here.
But were they minding the rules? No, they weren't. Everyone just strolling around like everything was normal, breathing my air. They should have been arrested, every one of them.
What did you do?
I still had my walk. Couldn't let it go to waste. But I took some photos as well. And when I got home,
Yes,
I put it all over the interweb.
quite right too. That'll teach them.
I mean, we're all in this together, aren't we? We can't have different rules for different people, can we now?
It's emerged tonight that the Prime Minister's chief advisor, Dominic Cummings, travelled out of London during the lockdown whilst ill with coronavirus. This is explains almost shocked.
Cliff edge.
Edge.
It would appear you've reached maximum jeopardy.
What do I do now?
You can stay or step off.
Oh,
You may fly.
or I may fall. Is there another option?
No.
I don't know.
Doubt is unpleasant, but certainty is absurd.
Doubt is unpleasant, but certainty is absurd. Thanks.
Voltaire, an 18th century French writer and philosopher, famous for speaking out in favor of freedom of speech and freedom of religion. He advocated civil liberties and was considered one of the major thinkers of the Enlightenment. You have reached your destination.
Hello?
You have reached your destination.
Hello? Hello?
You have reached your destination.
Hello? Hello? Oh.
welcome. Hi, I am Lori Hamilton, and you have come to the Silly and Unnecessary Variety Show, which I am producing by myself in New York City with only my cats to help me, and they're not very good at tech. So therefore, this show is also a drinking show. So anytime there's an awkward pause or something else happens, you just go ahead and get a drink or have some snacks. There we go, snacks. Or a dance party USA. So again, welcome to the Fringe, welcome to online, welcome to the space. And now get your reward ready because we're gonna start the show. It's the Lori Hamilton Show. It's an upside down, that's silly. It's a goofy kind of show. It's a jazz hands kind of show. That's unnecessary. That is silly and unnecessary. Fine, be that way. So this show is about what I've been thinking about and conjuring up during COVID. I know many of you are thinking, hey, you're in New York City, it's opening up. Yes, it's opening up to people who aren't wearing masks and are coming from hotspots and not quarantining. I feel totally safe inside my apartment. So I thought I'd give you a view of what I've been thinking about. And one of the questions I have, I think a lot of us do, is what if opera were more like NASCAR? Welcome to the Metropolitan Opera's opera product placement. Oh mio bambino caro, Pepsidento, Cogito, Ragu, Kraft, macaroni and cheese. Oh, Lucky Charms are magically delicioso. This has been Metropolitan Opera's opera product placement. I have my own business. For those of you that don't know, how do I support my drug habit? I mean, my comedy career is I do research and consulting and things like that. And one thing I've noticed during COVID is some people are really rising to the occasion and some are not. Take a guess at what actual clients have said to me during COVID. 1, it's your fault I didn't give you input because you should know I don't have time to read emails. 2, I'm a VP. I'm never going to collaborate with you the way you want to collaborate. Or 3, upon seeing the first draft of a 70-page report, could you just jazz it up? What? Just jazz it up. I'm sorry, I don't understand. Well, I could give you input on every page, but that's really tedious. If you guessed all 3, you're right. That's why I invented a company I call Landalore Industries. It's sort of like, on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, he had a whole separate place and bad things still happen there. But unlike the real world, good people are rewarded and bad things are punished. And I thought, wouldn't it be great if such a company exists and I could go to their HR director and get some advice? So let's talk to Diane Prendergast of Landalore Industries and see what she has to say about working for tough people during COVID. Hi, I'm Diane Prendergast, and I think a lot of us are, how do I say it, stuck in a job we hate during COVID, but you can't really do anything about it because you're lucky to have a job and you can't really apply for anything else. It reminds me of a class I took in college about how not to get killed when you get attacked. Just go along until you can safely get out. So here are a few tips for surviving a terrible manager during COVID. Rule number 1, the person who gets the least upset wins. Everyone else is freaking out and you're like, well, I just feel like we should collaborate on this. Ever notice that? Now you have all the power. Yes, you do. If you're going to get upset, do it for dramatic effect only. Well, I think this is just impossible. Wink. And the third one, this is very important. When you have a manager who is got a lot of power over you and you don't have the power and they're being unreasonable, you use what I like to call the male stupidity defense. Have you ever noticed how some guys pretend to not know things that they clearly know? I didn't say I was gonna call. I said I might call. Birthday? What birthday? So you use your power phrase, I'm confused. Dave and I have been here the same amount of time, and I noticed that he's getting paid way more than I am. I'm confused. I have 2 managers and they're each giving me full-time work, and now I'm getting in trouble for booking overtime. What should I do? I'm confused. Savannah, your niece, seems very nice. She's what, 17? Yeah, and I've been here for 14 years, and I've been Employee of the Month 18 times, and yet you promoted her to manager. So I was just wondering what I could do to put myself in line for that next position, because I'm confused. I hope you find that phrase helpful. And just remember, COVID won't last forever. You'll get out eventually, and don't even try to change it, because there's no such thing as a personality transplant. Wow. Thanks, Diane. That is helpful. Just, go along until you can safely get out. But I know some of us maybe have to look at alternative ways of making money even during this terrible time. So do you have any ideas about that? Why, yes, I do. At Landalore, we have a special product that is really good for that. Let's go ahead and see what that product is. Here we go. Okay, where did I put it? Oh dear. Oh, it's time to take a drink. Yes, it is, because I'm awkward and it's not coming up right now. There it is.
Shut up! I said shut up! 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 Shut up!
Wow, that sounds like one stressed out family. Maybe they have too many financial obligations. Just weighing them down. What if I told you you could work at home and bring your family together by ordering Landalore Industries' My First Meth Lab, the only in-home meth lab for the entire family. Small, tall, short, stout, even grandma can get in on this action.
Don't forget this. Shut up. I know what I'm doing.
Operator standing by. Don't forget to call the number flashing on your screen now.
Shut up.
Your income will explode. Landalore Industries, a growing concern.
Wow, that was very helpful. And oh, excuse me, my cats want to say hi. Yeah, apparently they're helping produce, so they want to be part of the show. Let's see what they have to say here. This is Demeter Merritt, and as you can see, she's got some notes on the show already. And here's her brother, Lorenzo. Lorenzo would like everyone to know that he's a very ferocious tiger, and even though he likes snuggles, that doesn't make him any less scary. Very intimidating. Apparently, they have put together a little presentation for all of you. Let's see what they have to say.
Hey, welcome to Lori's Cats Tell Kids Jokes. Demeter Merritt. What do you call a dinosaur that lives in the woods? What? A Stickosaurus. What is the strongest dinosaur? What? Brontosaurus. What is the meanest dinosaur? What? Tyrantosaurus. That's not This funny. Has been Lori's Cats Tell Kids Jokes. Bye.
Okay, well, thank you, cats. Very, very helpful there. It's just what it really reminds me is how anxious I am, because again, it's just me and the cats. And does anyone else like worried all the time, not sleeping? Anyone? Just me? No one else? Okay. Let's ask Diane if she's got any advice for that. Diane, have you got anything for those of us that are worried? Well, yes, I do actually. We just finished it up. We worked on a new product for all of you. It's called Worry Insurance. Do you worry? Do you worry as a way of avoiding problems? I think a lot of us do. Well, worry no more, because now for $9.95 a month, Landalore Industries Worry Insurance will worry for you. Let's take a look at our box of worries, shall we? Is this headache cancer? Will I ever get married? Will COVID last forever? Worry no more. We've got you covered. Do you have a big family? For $50 a month, we'll worry for all of them. Mom, dad, even that weird Uncle Fred. Are you worried you're racist? You are. Knock it off, right, Bob? Bob says yes. Read a book. For everyone else, there's worry insurance from Landalore Industries. Landalore Industries, a growing concern. Well, thank you for that, Mom. Gosh, I do wish there was one thing that I did during COVID, and I know I'm a little embarrassed to say this, but don't you wish you just had like a mom to just like take care of you and bring you snacks? What if there was like a Midwest mom? You know, the kind that's got a regular refrigerator and a backup refrigerator and a backup freezer. The kind of woman that would say things to you like, well, I know you're in the middle of COVID, but you're watching Netflix. Don't you want a snack? Popcorn, peanuts, macaroni and cheese. Oh, you know what? I got a leg of lamb out back. Oh, I know what you need. Remember, take 2 ho-hos and call me in the morning. Remember how you used to love ho-hos? Oh my gosh, I remember one time I got you with a whole box stashed in your room. And I said, nobody's going to want to marry a ho-ho hoarder. You keep eating those, you're going to turn into a big fat pig. And look at you now, you're a 300-pound rail. What, kids, what did I say? The spinach brownies are for grown-ups. Oh, goodness sake. What, honey? You got a headache? Well, sure, honey. No, the Tylenol's in the back bathroom. No, honey, the blue one's Darvon. The yellow one's codeine. Oh, no. There you go. Oh, whoops. Oh, broke my nose. Oh, that's smart. Okay, well, I'm going to go put some ice on this, and I'll see you later, honey. Bye. Oh, gosh. I feel better already, don't you? But I'm going to stop for a minute because I want to do a little bit of a PSA, because there's one group that's really, I think, suffered more than any other group during COVID. And I speak, of course, of the idiot bookstore clerk. Let's check in with our idiot bookstore clerk. She's, I think she's smoking pot at the moment. But what? Okay, well, so like, I've been like working for like this online bookstore, and like every day we have to like put in the passcode, and the passcode is "you're a winner." And I know it's like kind of corny, but I like "you're a winner" because like I am a winner, and so I'm typing in "you're a winner" and I feel so good. And so one day, just for a joke, I typed in "you're a loser" and typed in pumpkin butt or something like that, you know, just like pumpkin butt. Hey, pumpkin butt, just to see what would happen. And the computer totally worked. And I was like, this is the one place in my life where I really felt special. And now it's ruined. So I just started typing in "you're a loser" for the passcode. And then just "loser." And then finally just the letter L, because it was like too much trouble to type in the whole word. So then I was all unmotivated, and my manager's all, "you're irresponsible, and you're drinking at 8 a.m., and you're sexting with my son." And I'm all, first of all, he started it. So now I work for like a used bookstore, and like the people are so gross. Like they wrote in the books, what are you, 4 years old? Like, "dear so-and-so, hope you love my book, John Steinmart or Steinbark," or something like that. So I just like tear it out. So my point is, I hate COVID. Okay, well, that's been our idiot bookstore clerk. Now let's take some questions. Does anyone have a question for Diane? Let's see if anyone's got a question for Diane. Oh, looks like we do have a question for Diane. Let's see. Someone wants to know, what do you do? Hi. What do you do when someone's being inappropriate on Zoom? Oh my gosh, that happens quite a bit. Here's what I do. Happened last week. Dave, you talked about my boobs on a Zoom call. That's inappropriate. Works for me. Any other questions? Okay, let's ask a question of the Midwest mom, shall we? Let's see what she has to say. Oh, let's see. Oh, Hey, oh, Maya. Oh, sweet Maya. Oh my gosh. You know, Maya is very creative. You know who else is creative? The Johnson twins. They made an angel all out of macaroni and they painted it gold. Oh, my stars. Oh, so your question is, what do I do about online dating? Well, first of all, if you're a boy, put on some pants. Nobody wants to see Mr. Noodle. Trust me. Keep it in the dark. If you're a girl, what you do is you just angle yourself up a little bit so it looks like you're making a mistake, because you don't want to be like a hoochie girl or whatever they're calling it these days. You just show a little bit of the V of the boobs and just be like, oh, oops, did I do that? Trust me, it works. How do you think I got your dad? When somebody wants to know, how do I get my husband out of the house? Oh, here's what you do. You send him to the store and you tell him to find an 18-pound bag of flour, which doesn't exist. When he calls you from the store and says, honey, I can't find it, you go, oh, well, you must have to go to another store. He'll be gone all day. By that time, you and Mr. Drinky Winky will be on the couch. Okay, so looks like now we're going to have a question for, let's see if she's sober yet. Probably not. The bookstore clerk. What is she? What? Okay, so someone wants to know, like, what do I do when someone's shoplifting? I mean, first of all, like, it's COVID, so, like, no one's shoplifting. But when someone's shoplifting, it's kind of like, it depends on the person. Like, if it's a cute guy, I'll be like, oh, looks like you're trying to pick up something for free. Want to pick up, like, something else? Like, you know. But if it's, like, an older person, they probably stinky, so I just, like, let them go. Oh, and someone else wants to know, what's your favorite book? Oh, gosh, let me think. Well, like, my favorite book would probably have to be either between Allure magazine or Victoria's Secret. Mom, that's my hookah. Oh my God, you guys, I have to go. Okay, wow. So that's been some audience questions. Thanks for that. If you have any more questions, feel free to email me at Lori@thelorihamilton.com, and we'll ask the characters to answer them for you. Okay, so now let's see. We've got, oh, you know what? There is one group that has been so supportive of me, one family in particular, and I speak, of course, of the Carbohydrate family. That's right. Let's see what the Carbohydrate family has to say so that we can just appreciate them and what they've given to us during our time of need.
Did you see my drawing? Yes. Harold. Harold, what did we say about suicide at the dining room table? Not to do it. Not since Alexander McQueen have we seen the juxtaposition of light and dark, of death and light. This is visionary. I like the part with the dogs.
Did you guys see that, or did I screw up and not show you? Okay, so now we're back, and love potato chip. So you heard about some silly. Can you want to watch me look like a pest dispenser?
That's silly.
Can you guys make this face?
That's unnecessary.
And now it's time for the Easter puppy.
That's silly and unnecessary.
All right, so let's get serious, shall we? It's time for another episode of Opera Product Placement. Son ch'io la virtù magica d'un guardo tempo e loco. Son ch'io come si bruciano. Everyone knows it's Slinky, it's Slinky, it's Slinky, la 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 la. It's Slinky, la 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 la. Everyone knows it's Slinky. This has been Metropolitan Opera's Opera Product Placement. All right, so we're coming to the end of the show. Let's see what Demeter Merritt thinks about the show.
Not funny.
Okay, well, that's what you get for having a cat produce your show. So thank you, everybody, for coming. This has been the Silly and Unnecessary Show in New York City during COVID, written and performed by Laurie Hamilton. Hope you got a chance to have some drinks or snacks or dance party. Special material from Landalore Industries. Potato video animation by Montana Hall, and you can see that on our website. And it just got honorable mention at the New York International Film Awards, so you definitely want to check that out. Production supervised by Demeter Merritt and Lorenzo. For more silly and unnecessary things, go to theLaurieHamilton.com. Many thanks to theSpaceUK. This has been such a great experience. Carl and Nick, you guys are awesome. For more great shows, go to the Ed Fringe. Thank you for watching, and I know what I'm doing for the rest of the afternoon. Bye, everybody. Have a great day.
She's still crying now. I can still hear her sniffles and her sobs. She's been at it all night. I know it's wrong, but I wanted to shout at her through my living room wall. I know she'd hear me because I can hear her television most nights. I almost went round there and banged on the door and shouted, "Stop, just stop." But I held back, I restrained myself. It just kept bubbling up, all the angst and all the grief and all the helplessness. That mural of George Floyd's face will forever be imprinted onto my memory, along with his pleading to be allowed to breathe, all in the middle of a pandemic. At some point, we have to stop. I can't spend every hour bawling about this any longer. It just hurts so bad. How much pain can we take? We have to let him go. We have to move away and begin again. I had to go around there. Had to make that infernal sound, that sob, 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 stop. The dripping. It just continues. And it's not the drips that send you crazy. It's the moments in between the drips, the silences, the gaps. There's a drip and nothing. And everything is beautifully calm, and you exhale, and your shoulders dip and your arms fall by your sides, and you use one foot to push the slipper off the other foot, and you press the button on your remote control, allowing a world of silly commercials to wash over you, a world of banal tunes and dancing biscuits and jovial meals, a world of sterile, tidy lives with ease and disposable income time and space. But I had to go around there. I had to check on my neighbor. Maybe I could help in some way. Anything to make it stop. When I opened my front door, it looked as if dusk had arrived early. Although it's only mid-afternoon, the sun's oppressive heat had tinged the clouds, making the sky seem bronze. As I stepped outside, was greeted by her wailing again, amidst the gusts and rush of wind across the trees and fences. As I reached my front gate, I was already soaked through. I was greeted by her tearful lament. Standing in the pouring rain, this agony was spilling all around me. As I closed my front door, I could hear her weeping, even stronger than before. Systematic racism surrounds us like the air we breathe. It's everywhere, ruffling our lives daily and entering our subconscious minds. Its stagnant pungency blows with utmost intent to derail our life's passage. Like the UK government's ongoing disgraceful mistreatment of the surviving members of the Windrush community. It has to stop. As a Black person, I'd kind of get used to having to gain permission to be granted approval from up on high to enter an establishment or institution or building, or sometimes even my own building. Racial profiling is a real thing. And it happens to us, ethnic minorities, every day. It's society's symbolic line of equality and opportunity that dares us to step across it. It's a line that's proved extremely elusive to many in the Black community. To us, our parents and their parents before them and theirs before them. And Black and brown voices are not listened to. Our concerns are not taken seriously. We're told that we have a victim complex and we get too emotional. And if we are listened to, we're not believed. I wonder now that the world has witnessed what happened to George Floyd, whether they'll believe us now. I wonder. The families of the Grenfell Tower weren't listened to or believed. Most of the families that lived at the Grenfell Tower were from Black communities, and their concerns and fears and desperate cries for help were disregarded and ignored, beyond the point where the help they craved could have saved them. It's a kind of psychological trauma that Black people have to live with and have lived with for centuries due to systematic and systemic racism. Being stopped and searched by police is a very scary and frustrating thing, extremely embarrassing, especially if you're on your lunch break with your white colleagues, or if you're on a night out and you know you're a law-abiding citizen and the only reason you're being singled out is because you're Black. Government statistics show that between April 2018 and March 2019, there were 4 stop and searches for every 1,000 white person, compared to 38 stop and searches for every 1,000 Black person. And the police are more than 4 times likely to use force against Black people than they are to use it against white. Oh, my head is full of questions. There are no answers to. I think this COVID-19 should be renamed the worry virus, because there's no end to the worry and the concerns that it brings. Where did it come from? When will it go away? Will we ever get back to normal? I'm scared for the future. What happens if I'm laid off from my job? Will I be able to find another accountancy position? If I am laid off from my job and furloughed, will I be able to start all over again? And I'm scared for my family too. What if I bring it home to them? Will they get infected and bring it home to me? Provisional government statistics, UK government statistics show that black males are 4.2 more times likely to die of COVID than white people at the same age. And black females are 4.3 more times likely to die of COVID than white females. While in the States, the most up-to-date figures I could find were showing that black people die between rates of 2.3 times to 3.7 times the rate of white people dying of COVID, depending on age. Then in the middle of all this, George Floyd happened. Watching his life being squeezed out of his helpless body in real time flattened my spirit, draining my hope of humanity and affecting me very badly. If a black man can be tortured and killed by the police in broad daylight, and footage of him begging to be allowed to breathe is beamed around the planet in 2020, and that's shocking and extremely scary. I'm scared. I'm scared for my family. I'm scared for my brothers and sisters. I'm scared for my nieces and nephews. I'm scared for my friends' nieces and nephews. I'm also scared that a black person right now out there being choked to death by the police, it wasn't a one-off after all. It's happened before. Eric Garner in 2014. I've been using my time here at home in lockdown constructively. I've been researching the disparities of institutional racism has created in society. It's become an obsession. It's become clearer and clearer to me that education is our only hope of finding a way through all of these systematic disadvantages that lay in wait for us. I've just got back from Black Lives Matter March in central London. Wow, it was so exhilarating, so fulfilling to be a part of it. And demand change now, change from now on, so we don't have to keep repeating the same mistakes from the past over and over and over again, going right back to slavery. There's so many wounds to heal. Take Charles Wooten, 24, black ex-serviceman from Bermuda, who served and fought to defend the British Empire in World War I of 1918. A war veteran, he was demobilized and was now living in Liverpool. This year of 1919 there, when he was murdered after being chased by a racist white mob of up to 300 who chased him to the docks, and he had either jumped or was pushed in. He was then pelted and bricks and drowned. No one was convicted for the murder of Charles Wooten. Whilst those racial tensions erupted into riots in Toxteth, they again broke out in 1981 in Toxteth. It has to stop. Emmett Till, he was 14 years old, an African-American boy who was murdered on the 28th of August, 1955 in America, because a white woman told her husband that Emmett apparently gave her some kind of sweet talk as he entered her store. When his body was recovered, he had been so horrifically beaten and grotesquely disfigured and unrecognizable that his mother, through her pain of her love for her only child, insisted that the lid of the coffin remain open at the funeral for the world's press to show what the hand of hate had done to her child. Black Lives Matter is not just a slogan, it's a warning that describes over 400 years of disproportionate use of brutal, aggressive tactics and oppressive force by law enforcement officers against Black people. It's also a demand to change the status quo that finds Black communities at the back of the queue and the bottom of society, whose concerns are disregarded and whose rights are dismissed by the people who are there to protect and serve us. Black communities live with the experience of being misrepresented, mistreated, and abused by a system that sees us as a problem. instead of attending to our needs as a community? Why was it that Chauvin, the officer that had his knee on George Floyd's neck, why was it that he felt he could do that? Because he didn't value George Floyd's life as a black man, as a man, as a human being. Also because systematic and systemic racism runs right throughout every corner of our society. Black communities live in the inner city with the poorest schools, in the poorest areas, that have the least amount of funding and investment. Society gave him the permission to act that way. I wanted to tell you about a report that I found online that details systematic disparities highlighted by the racial inequalities running right through society in the UK. According to government figures, nearly a third of deaths in police custody have been caused by interactions with the police by Black people. Going right back, some of the names that have been murdered in custody are Rashan Charles, Sean Rigg, Roger Sylvester, Christopher Alder, Jean-Charles de Menendez, Mark Duggan. And when it comes to sentencing, Black people are given sentences 50% longer than white people. In 2018, Black people had the highest unemployment rate at over 9% of any ethnicity, more than twice that of the white population, at 4%. In London, the Black population earned 21.7% less than the rest of the population. I met a 72-year-old white lady at the march today. She said she'd come up to London from Surrey, especially for the day, just so that she could join the march. She said that she wasn't there for George Floyd or any of the recent deaths in police custody, but because she had worked with Black colleagues over the years, and she had witnessed how they'd been discriminated against. She said she remembered watching her Black colleagues being passed over for promotions and refused salary increases, but she never said anything to them or backed them up, even though she was in a position of responsibility and would have been listened to by management. But she chose to stay silent. She looked the other way and she kept her mouth shut. During her time at the company, she continued to see a succession of young white university students with little working experience get invited for interviews, while much better qualified Black candidates with far greater experience weren't offered interviews. She said that most of the time they decided whether to offer someone an interview depending on if they had a Black or ethnic sounding name or not. It was usual for most candidates with a culturally diverse sounding name not to get an interview, no matter how good their CVs were. Though some Black people obviously did get work, and when they did get the job, the white member of staff would usually be trained by the Black member of staff, and within a very short period of time, the white member of staff would be offered a promotion and a salary increase over the Black member of staff who trained her. She said that she witnessed her Black co-workers being treated unfairly on the basis of their color over the whole time that she worked there. But she didn't step in and say anything. Even though she was in a position to do so, she left her Black friends to fight on their own. She told me that she's retired now and she lives comfortably in Surrey. But over the years, she kind of wished she'd said something, stood up for what she knew was wrong, but she never did. She said that she hadn't thought about it over the years, not until she saw the footage of George Floyd and the way that police officer that was meant to protect him did what he did. George Floyd's crime? Trying to buy something to eat for a suspected counterfeit $20 bill. After watching that footage, she said she couldn't stay silent any longer. She said she's watched Black people dying and suffering over the years in civil rights demonstrations in America and South Africa's apartheid regime. She said she's watched news reports and read articles over the years of Black people dying in police custody. She's always automatically believed that the police's explanation of events, but she's beginning to think differently now. She said she's beginning to question things more and more. It used to be that if she saw the police arresting a Black person, her immediate thought would be that Black person must have done something wrong. But now she's not so sure. She said since attending these marches and demonstrations against racial discrimination, she's beginning to understand that Black communities haven't been listened to over the years. And they just want to be heard. She said she used to see Black people as being angry all the time. But now she's realized that Black people are not angry. We're just determined. Determined to get justice. Just imagine all the George Floyds out there we don't know about because there wasn't a smartphone there to capture what actually happened and how a person actually came to lose their life. Nothing can replace or repair the whole of losing someone unjustly murdered. Justice helps. Trevon Martin was a 17-year-old, unarmed, African-American student walking home after buying a packet of sweets. He was shot and killed by George Zimmerman, a 29-year-old ordinary member of the public who was activating a citizen's arrest. He was tried and acquitted of the murder. Michael Brown, 18-year-old African-American, was shot 6 times by a police officer. And there were reports that Michael had his hands up. Sandra Bland, an African-American female, 28, hashtag say her name, was pulled over for a traffic violation and arrested and found dead in her cell 3 days later. Sandra recorded the interaction with the officer. The officer was seen being very aggressive to her, telling her to get out of the car now or he will light her up. Her death still remains unexplained. A perjury charge against the officer was dropped. There have been so many Black females that have died after coming into contact with police, such as Sonjay Taylor, 27-year-old African-American female, hashtag say her name. She was shot in the chest and the back after returning to her car with Christmas shopping with a 3-year-old child. Alicia Thomas, African-American female, hashtag say her name, was kicked unconscious by Officer Mary O'Callaghan. O'Callaghan was charged with assault. Maya Hall was an African-American transgender female who was shot dead after crashing her car into a fence by the police. Hashtag say her name. Tamir Rice was a 12-year-old boy playing in a park with a toy gun with his sister. He was shot and killed. No one has faced charges for his murder. Eric Garner, as I mentioned earlier, 43-year-old African-American man, was choked to death in 2014 by Officer Pantaleo, with Mr. Garner saying, "I can't breathe." No charges were brought against Officer Pantaleo. Rakea Boyd, 22-year-old African-American female, was shot dead by an off-duty police officer. He was acquitted of manslaughter. Breonna Taylor, 26-year-old African-American female, a hospital emergency room technician, was shot at least 8 times while she slept in her bed in her own apartment. 3 officers entered Breonna's flat using a no-knock warrant and firing at least 20 rounds, killing her at the scene. The officers were searching for Jamaricus Glover, who did not live at the apartment and who was already in custody, detained by the police. No officers have been charged. Ahmaud Arbery, A 25-year-old unarmed African-American was shot dead by white vigilantes while he was jogging, trying to flee them in February of this year. Charges have eventually been brought against these white vigilantes. Dylan Roof was a self-proclaimed white supremacist. On June 17th, 2015, Roof walked into the Emmanuel AME Church in Charleston, South Carolina, listened to the service, and shot 9 people as they prayed. 9 black people. After the search, the police found Rolf, patted him down and brought him in. And as he hadn't eaten for a few days, they brought him a Burger King meal. Should we just sit and wait for the next mass shooting, the next riot, the next lynching, the next George Floyd? Under Azure's watching eyes, Cirrus descends and whispers that slip away unheard. Beyond the breeze, which never sleeps, where darkness doesn't exist and hatred cannot be traced, follow the footprints in the clouds, in the crushed, silent clouds, where all memories fade. It has to stop. Donald Fraser's hands held her smartphone steady and her focus constant. Thank God for her bravery, as she filmed what turned out to be George Floyd's last moments, and then uploaded the horrific footage. We watched that uploaded footage as those white police officers murdered that black man. It churns my insides even now, just replaying the memory of George's dying moments with Chauvin's knee on his neck, with cold, calculating, chilling contempt. Those officers didn't seem troubled in any way. They weren't concerned about George's distress or discomfort. Nothing seemed unusual or strange to them about the arrest of that black man. Nothing seemed unusual. They weren't alarmed what was happening to him as they held him down, his arms behind his back, in chains. It's clear to see from their actions that treating black people in that way is a systematic occurrence, a regular occurrence, as regular as breakfast. It has to stop. I remember walking down King's Road in Chelsea in London, and I was meeting a girl down there that I was seeing, and I was a little early, so I decided to look at the shops and take a walk, and I walked down one side of the road, and then I just walked back up the other side of the road. And as I was walking down, this guy just walked straight in front of me and just stopped, centimeters away from me, and I thought, this is kind of strange. And he was dressed in a blue top, blue jeans, and mousy brown hair. It's a white guy. And he kind of looked at me with a smirk on his face. And we didn't speak, but he kind of had the vibe, as if he was saying, go on, son, have a go. Go on, son, let's have it. Now, I knew this is strange, so I didn't say anything. I just stepped out and carried on walking. Within a few seconds, I was stopped by police officers asking me where I was going, what I was doing there, and I didn't look like the type that should be around here shopping, etc., etc. And if I didn't leave, they were going to charge me with something. So I was on my own, and I didn't want to make a fuss, so I turned around and walked back to Sloane Square Tube Station. And as I was going there, the police officers were there, and the white guy that was standing in front of me was there as well, with a little smirk still on his face, waving me goodbye. Turned out he was a plainclothes officer. It has to stop. The funny thing that I wasn't really surprised or shocked. You see, this kind of thing happens to black people every day. We kind of get used to being watched and followed by CCTV cameras, followed in shops. You know it, you feel it. It's racial profiling is a real thing. And it happens to us Black people every day. It's society's way of keeping you behind the line. You know, it's just saying to you, you just step over that line once, just once, and we'll have you. No matter what you do for a living, systematic racism is part of the society in which we live for Black people every day. We know it. We've witnessed it during our lives, during our parents' lives, and their parents' lives, and their parents' lives before them, and theirs before them. It has to stop. There was another time that I was walking around a department store in central London, and I was browsing. And I was just walking around, spending some time looking at the stuff, and out of nowhere, I felt people walking along with me. And lo and behold, there was two people on either side of me walking along in the department store, just saying to me like, what are you doing here? You shouldn't be in here. And one of them actually said that I was walking around the place like I owned it. I didn't want to make a fuss. Who's going to believe me if I did? I left. But I didn't feel good. And it still rankles with me even today, many, many years on. It has to stop. The family of Stephen Lawrence weren't believed. Stephen Lawrence was a British Black teenager who was killed in a knife attack by a white racist gang while waiting for a bus in Eltham, southeast London in April 1993. He was 18 years old. The Macpherson report found that the Metropolitan Police to be marred by institutional racism. The police didn't act promptly on the evidence before them in the case. Instead of arresting the white suspects whose names they had received from offs, the police were secretly spying and digging up dirt on the Lawrence family themselves, wasting precious time and allowing crucial evidence to be rendered useless, and the 5 white suspects to slip through their fingers. Only 2 of the suspects were eventually charged and are convicted for Stephen's murder and are currently serving life sentences. In 1959, Kelso Cochrane, a 32-year-old Antiguan carpenter who settled in Britain at the time of unapologetic racist bigotry, was murdered by a white racist gang on the very same streets that shortly became the home of the Notting Hill Carnival. No one was brought or convicted for the death of Kelso. It has to stop. Oh, you're kidding me. You're kidding me. Oh, man. Let's try that again. There's so much I need to tell you. Tell you and your brother, but I just realized it hasn't been filming. The red light wasn't on and hasn't been recorded, everything I've been trying to tell you. I was just in such a rush. I had all my notes and I burnt the pasta. I had the heat up too high. I was preparing to send you a picture. I was going to show you my wonderful culinary skills. Oh, I have to send you another time. It was really good. You'll just have to imagine it. It was simmering beautifully, and I was hunting around for my camera to take a picture. Then I got distracted. We're trying to set up this Zoom in preparation for our virtual meal together. Next thing I know, I was watching one YouTube tutorial after another, trying to explain this Zoom thing, and Then the smoke alarm went off and everything just went out of my head. In the end, it didn't matter. I couldn't understand the whiz-bang YouTube tutorials, and it's far too difficult to understand. And that's why I'm using the camera. I thought if I film it. Do you remember it? Funfair rides, sandcastles, school concerts. It's the same one. Yeah, it works as good as new. Nearly. Look, I wanted to tell you that I've been reading a lot of books and I've been researching a lot of things on the internet during lockdown. And ever since George Floyd lost his life, I just feel so helpless. I feel I have to do something. Those thoughts have just been playing around in my mind, and I just can't stop thinking about it. It was just too much to say in a phone conversation, so I thought, and with you being in America, the both of you and your brother, I thought I'd record this and then WhatsApp it to you both. Your mother said she'll call you both later as usual. Anyway, I know you're both in lockdown as well, and you're not on the campus, you're studying online, so that's another reason I didn't want to bother you. What happened to that student, the one with the wind problem that you mentioned? Did you look? Just have a quiet word with her. Don't accuse her of anything. It may be a medical issue. Just be nice. She said that she felt guilty. Stephanie, the lady I met on the Black Lives Matter march today. I'll explain later. She said that she felt guilty by her inaction over the years, especially when she watched how Black and white communities, both young and old generations, were marching in the streets today, standing up against racism, in support of George Floyd. She felt she had to come along. She felt compelled. She said when she watched what was taking place around the world, she said that she was brought up to believe that Black people were undeserving, that we were born to be separate. But she said now she believes that she's wrong. She now believes that we're all just skin and bone. Stephanie said she used to fear Black people all her life. As a young girl growing up in Italy, she said she had it drummed into her that Black people were dangerous, bad, and didn't deserve anything. Because she hadn't grown up around people she didn't know any better. But since she moved to the UK and she got a job in London and worked around Black people and lived in Black communities, she now has long-lasting friendships. She now realizes that that wasn't true. She turns to me and she says, "You poor thing, must be so awful being Black." She said that she has space in her place and she'd like me and my family to come and live with her because she has so much and us Black people don't. Well, I thanked her. But I said, I and my family wouldn't want to do that. We love where we live and we love our community. And we're perfectly comfortable and we earn a good living. I told her I'm very proud of my color and I love being Black and I wouldn't want to be white. I just want the freedom and the fairness to be able to live my best life and achieve whatever my efforts bring me without having to face systematic or systemic racism or tokenism or marginalization or being racially profiled or having to deal with racial discrimination every day just because I happen to be Black. Now, I understood where she was coming from. She was being sincere. She meant well. We're meeting up next week for a virtual coffee. If I can get this Zoom thing. I can remember when I was 4 or 5, and I was clambering onto a dining chair before my mother went off to work. She worked at a sweet factory, and I remember standing on the chair so that I'd be high enough to give her a goodbye kiss. I'd be watching her and waiting as she patted her face with powder in the mirror. And then she'd come and give me a little hug, and I'd give her my goodbye kiss before she went off to work. Then when she came back, she'd bring me a couple of sweets from the factory. As you know, I lost my mother many years ago, and I hadn't remembered that until I heard George Foy's cries for his deceased mother. Sorry. I'm rambling. But listen, this is important. If you're taking part in any Black Lives Matter marches over there, then please, please be careful. If you get stopped by the police, just do what they say. And don't give them any back chat. And I don't care if you feel it's right or if you feel it's wrong. I want you to be able to live to fight another day. So just keep your hands high and your mouth closed. And don't touch your phone. They'll say you're going for your gun and they'll shoot you. You don't have a gun, do you? No, of course you don't. Of course you. Look, I want you to wear your masks when you go out and just wash your hands. And if you see the police arresting some people, film it, of course, but stand well back. Don't get involved. We don't want to lose you. It could happen to you. You're not invincible. We love you. We'll call you both later. When I get this WhatsApp footage. Bye. We have to find the now in us. Not the if, the but, or the when. We have to find the now in us. Not wait for it to start over once again. We have to find the now in us, not the only, or the perhaps, or the maybe. We have to find the now within us. We cannot replay the beginning in naked hope of an affirming resolve. Life is about the now of us, not the if or the when. Imagine how real the panic would feel inside if we knew that light of longer follow dark of night. We may feel a stressed unease. We may even grieve to know that life had been uprooted, confused, like laughter without joy, or tears without sadness, or honesty. But we must not fear the eternal darkness deep within us, for it is our void, a nothingness that preceded our birth, when we were but sleep and only heaven's eyes could greet us, where silt and fluff and the dust of fallen stars lay silent in solemnity, the histories of flesh. Through windows, turbulence flounders, the remembrances of humanity's soul. Let heaven's breath ignite us, not maybe, or if, or only, or perhaps, or but, or if, but now, to begin. Racism has been suffocating me my whole life, and all Black people. By the police who see me as a threat on the one hand, while having to exist in areas that are laced with poverty, where drug wars and knife and gun crime lay hidden in plain sight. On the other, there's always a fear of walking into something as you go about your day. It's just something you learn to live with. But now with the added pressure of a pandemic, it's heightened the tension and the peril of staying alive. We need more light. We need more light to see where we're going. Now, here we stand. Through the window of my isolation, the sky looks so dark this time of day. And the clouds, they're so low. Well, it looks like it's going to pour. Here we stand, our faces covered, far away from one another, on the placemats of our existence, detached from the fluidity of our togetherness. We need more light. More light. We need more light. More light. More light. Thank you so much. That was Under Heaven's Eyes, and that was the first outing for Under Heaven's Eyes. No one, apart from myself, has heard that. So thank you for listening. Thank you for being there. I would love to know your reaction, good, bad, or indifferent. I'm hoping to develop this and take it on tour if the world allows, bring it up to the Fringe. So if you'd like to help me do that, please link into my crowdfunding page to help me. You can find me on Twitter, C2Jar Official, on Facebook, Resistance Theatre Company, or under my name, Christopher Tajar. Many, many, many thanks to Space, to Charles, to Nick, and to Carl. Thank you so much for being there.